Hello and welcome today at our 11th Pan-European Conference on Digital Education. So my name is Blanca and hello to all of you that I know you and maybe we met one day, and hello to all of you who are for the first time in our Pan-European Conference. The topic for today is, look, see at my PowerPoint, it's flipped classroom. And I'm so excited about this topic because I actually, during the Corona crisis, all teachers have really advanced their digital skills. So you are actually already an expert in flipped classroom. So, and today conference, we will share 6 best practice, and I'm really excited to listen to all the presentations. But now, please, I see that already we have like almost 200 people online, which is really good, because that means that we have throughout the Europe and globally a lot of teachers who are really curious and want to learn something more. So can you please tell us in the comments, say hello, I love learning. Say this in your language. Not say, but of course type. So how do you say hello, I love learning in your language? In Slovene language, which is my mother tongue, it would be like živjo, zdravo, or dober dan, uživam v učenju novih stvari. So how it is in your language? Okay, I see, wow, 100 comments already. So I see that also you are excited to be part of the conference today. I like this metaphor for the flipped classroom. I don't know if you see it good, but actually here are 2 glasses. And in flipped classroom, we don't talk about whether they are full or empty, but just on the position of the glass. So how it is, because in traditional teaching or learning, usually our students listen to lessons inside the classroom, but in flipped classroom, they listen to lessons at home and then come back to the classroom with practical problems, with discussions, and there are many forms of it. So yes, we are ready for the flipped classroom. And soon I will present all the presenters to you. We have 6 wonderful presenters today, but at the moment, I also greet Monica, who is our co-moderator, and she is also active on chat. So, hello, Monica. Please tell something about yourself.
Hello, everyone. Since it's 11th Pan-European Conference already, I would like to say that I'm really happy that you are following us so many times, and I'm glad when I see the same names in the comments, and I'm very happy that you find these conferences very useful. So hopefully we'll continue with this even in our next conferences.
Sure, we will. And now I would actually, we are almost at 3 already. So we will start in a moment. But now I would just like to tell you something really cool. So as we know that flipped classroom is quite popular and that many of you use it, not just because of Corona, but because you actually believe in this way of learning and teaching. We wanted also, to facilitate a lot of sharing best practice among all the participants. So that is the reason that we set up Mentimeter, that is one thing, and Padlet. And I'm really excited because you sent us a lot of presentations already. Monica, how many presentations we received? I think more than 20 or something like that, yeah?
Yes, and in the last few hours already about 10 more. So we have many presentations gathered on our Padlets and many questions answered on our Mentimeter.
So all the presentations that are in English and that are focused on flipped classroom, we will put them on our Facebook group called Pan-European Conference on Digital Education. Okay, yes, I know many of you are already members of the group, but those who are not, I really recommend it to become, because we share a lot of different practices there. And I think it's good, that we learn from each other, because teachers experiment a lot in their classrooms, and it's really good to know that you share what works and what doesn't work so good. Yeah. Okay, Monica, and we actually are now in, it's 3. So I guess that you can just maybe tell something about Mentimeter.
Mm-hmm.
I was really curious about the first question that we put on the Mentimeter, and that was, what is actually a synonym for you for flipped classroom?
Yes. So, as you can see, there are more answers. What are the synonyms of flipped classroom? Lots of them were inverted classroom or flipped learning, blended learning. And as you can see, we have 97 answers. So at this point, I would like to mention that all the answers will be also uploaded on the Facebook group, so you can read them whenever you would like. Then we had few more questions. What do you like about flipped classroom? So you answered that you like flexibility, that students can do the assessment, the exercises at their own pace, that it's actually very engaging for students, and many, many more answers here. Then 2 greatest flipped classroom challenges for you are also how to actually motivate students and how to prepare digital materials. Lots of you mentioned flipped classroom in an online environment, which is probably due to current situation. And here are some more questions, which I really encourage you to read on your own, because they're very useful together with the most effective activities and also tools. And then on the other hand, we have what doesn't work in flipped classroom environment, and the answers are very different to each other, as you can see. And then we have advices from you who answered this Mentimeter to other teachers, but I won't tell you what they are, so you will check that on your own. And the last question, it was a bit controversial. So do you think, why do you think it is important to record your own lesson? Some of you said that you don't think that's important. The others said that it is important, as you will see. So I really encourage you to answer these questions on your own and read the answers of others whenever you'll have time to do it.
Thank you, Monica. And now we will just see quickly what awaits for us in this next 1 hour and a half. So the topic Flipped classroom, of course. This is my PowerPoint presentation for today. So then we start with the first presentation, which will have Jonah Marinensi from Link Campus University, and it's about combining gamification and flipped classroom to improve students' engagement in higher education. Next one, we have Rob Senden from Belgium, IVOC, Teachers Teach Teachers. So he will present us their digital collection for teachers that they managed to put up in those years that they are doing it. Then we have a presentation on Edpuzzle. I think that some of you already use this tool. It's a web solution for flipped classroom, and Alina Dica from Romania will present. And we have another web-based solution for flipped classroom, Screencast-O-Matic. Simona Negru will present. So thank you in advance. Then we move to Portugal, where João, Melo and Costa will present. He's from Modatex. He will present project-oriented training. Okay, and in the end, we come back to Croatia with Ivana Stiglec on migration Socratic seminar. All right, so that is our plan for today. But now I think that you're already curious to see who are those names that I just showed you. So I will put all of you on the screen, and please, Giada, you are the first one.
Hi.
At the beginning, hi, just say a few words about yourself.
Yes. Hi, hello everyone. My name is Jonah Marinensi. I am a teacher and a researcher. I work at Link Campus University, which is a private university based in Rome. And as a researcher, I'm interested in technology and methodology that can be used to enhance the teaching and learning process, with a particular focus on serious games and gamification, as you can say, since my presentation today will be about combining flipped learning and gamification.
And you are actually a certified flipped classroom, yeah, which is really great. And then welcome Rob Senden from IVOC, Belgium. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself for the beginning?
Yes, hi. My name is Rob. I work for a training institute, and the main duty of what we are doing is we train employees from Belgian clothing companies. So we're not a school or something. In company training is our biotope. But the experience that I will share has to do with teachers from fashion schools in Belgium.
Exactly, that's wonderful. I mean, that we can share knowledge from just different, also from different backgrounds, so that we can learn from it. Alina, and welcome you. Can you tell us a little bit?
Hello. I'm Alina Dica from Craiova, Romania. I am an ICT teacher at high school at the Orthodox Theological Seminary in Craiova, and also I teach in sports high school in Craiova, Romania. And I'm always interested in what can we do for better results and better using of web-based solution in our teaching. So I came to share a little bit about what I do like.
Thank you. Looking forward. And another presentation from Romania, Simona. Can you just unmute yourself, and then we all will hear your words.
Hello again. I'm Simona Negru from Romania. I'm a physics teacher in a lower secondary school in a rural area, a small school. But in generally, I'm a fan of learning application and platforms even before COVID. So I search for them all the time. I like to use them. The students like them. So I keep learning about them. And now I will show you one of them which works very good in online learning.
Great. Thank you. And from Romania to Portugal, João, please do tell us about yourself.
Hi. Hello, everyone. My name is João. I'm an instructor, a course leader in Modatex, which is also a training center. And we work in the fashion industry and the textile industry. I'm very interested, and it's my first time involved in this project, so I'm very curious to see how it all works. But I'm interested to see how creativity can be one of the main tools that we can use to improve education and training and the learning experience through all areas of learning.
Definitely. I mean, definitely. Yeah. Thank you. And Ivana?
Hello, everyone. My name is Ivana. I come from Croatia. I have been teaching English and German for the last 20 years. I have also worked as a European teacher ambassador for European SchoolNet in the last 3 years. I'm interested in creating my own teaching materials and implementing technology in my teaching, and I will share a piece of my teaching with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. So we will start in a minute with all the presentations at the moment, but I would just like to remind you, please do ask questions because, as you know, we learn a lot through questions when we ask them, because in this way then we can remember later more of the content if we are always searching for open questions in our heads. So please do ask questions in the chat, of course, and later we will ask every presenter the questions that are in the chat. So if there will be a lot of questions, then we won't ask all of them, but in any case, you are welcome to ask questions, and also share this conference on your timelines, so that also your friends in the network can be part of the conference, and that they can learn from different countries, from different backgrounds, what are actually good teaching practice that we can use. And the certificates, I see that Monica is already active on chat. She put the link for the certificate of attendance of those who would like to have them. So just put your name and email address in the link, and then you will receive a certificate of attendance in maybe already today, tomorrow, or in 5 days. We usually need 5 days to process everything that is inside. Yes, all right. So already I'm now impatient because I hardly wait for the presentation. So I will stop talking and give my word to Jonah Marinensi, who will present us the first topic, which is combining gamification and flipped classroom to improve students' engagement in higher education. All right, so welcome. The floor is yours. You can start sharing the screen.
Yes. Let me share the presentation. Can you see it? Uh-huh.
At the moment, we will. All right, it's here. Yes,
okay.
We see it.
Great. So, hello everyone again. Today I will briefly describe you my experience adopting an instructional methods that combine flipped classroom and gamification. This solution, named the Chronicles of Knowledge, has been designed with the aim of motivating, engaging, and supporting students throughout a university course. In my presentation today, I will focus on the reason why I decided to combine flipped classroom and gamification, and how the solution works. So, what kind of game elements I adopted, and why. And finally, I'm going to present some results about students' perceptions and acceptance of this solution. Since gamification is sometimes confused with similar concepts such as serious games or game-based learning, I'd like to start providing a brief definition of gamification. As you can see in this slide, gamification can be defined as the use of game elements and game design techniques in non-game context. This means that gamification just uses elements of games without giving rise to full entire games. And there are many game elements that can be used in a gamified solutions. This may be the first one that comes to mind, but there are many others such as progression, cooperation, narrative, and also objectives that are very important, and many others that you can see in the word cloud on this slide. So, why I decided to combine flipped classroom with gamification? Well, as you may know, flipped classroom has many advantages, provide many benefits. The most important is the fact that offer a chance to focus students' class time on the higher forms of cognitive work with the teacher support and the involvement of the group of peers, of course, but it also has some risks, such as students skipping out of class learning activities. So the flipped classroom success depends on keeping a high level of students' engagement in and outside of class. And here is where gamification can be very useful, can play a very crucial role. The use of gamification in education, and in particular in higher education, has increased over the last years, and many studies show that the use of gamification can lead to positive results, above all in the improvement of students' engagement and motivation. And recent experimental studies have also reached encouraging results, analyzing the effect of combining gamification and flipped classroom. This is the reason why I decided to give it a try, and I decided to design the Chronicles of Knowledge. This solution has already been tested several times in the course Serious Game and Gamification Strategies of the Master's degree in Technologies, Code and Communication, that is taught by me at Link Campus University, and also in another course that is focused on a similar subject, but is taught by a colleague of mine. As every flipped classroom experience, the Chronicles of Knowledge foresees a distinction between the individual learning space and the group learning space. The individual space in Chronicles of Knowledge is based on the learning management system Moodle, with the integration of the plugin Level Up that is specifically designed to manage the gamification aspects of the course. And the individual space is not only used to share educational resources such as readings and video lectures, and of course also learning quizzes, but is also used to provide support and feedback to students and to keep track of individual and group progress in the gamified system. And we will talk a little bit more about it in a minute. The group space instead consists of 12 2-hour weekly lessons delivered via synchronous video conferencing, and for that we used mainly GoToMeeting and Google Meet and Discord as well. And each lesson is divided in 3 main steps. At the beginning of the lesson, there is a brief review of the contents learned in the individual space through game-like activities, and if needed, a questions and answers moment. Then there is one learning activity specifically designed to deepen the students' understanding of the content. And finally, there is one group activity designed to let the students put into practice the theoretical contents, applying them to their group project. So now that I've described the flipped classroom approach in a few words, I'm going to describe how the gamified aspects of the Chronicles of Knowledge work. And I'll do it using as a reference the different steps of the player's journey. So at first I'm going to describe what happens during the onboarding stage, which is the initial stage of the familiarizing with the gamified solution. Then I'll describe how the gamified solution evolves during the habit building stage, when the level of challenge has to increase to keep the students interested and engaged. And finally, I'll describe what happens when the course ends, so when the students hopefully achieve the mastery level of the contents. So let's start with the onboarding stage. So during the first video conference of the course, the teacher presents the imaginary world of the Chronicles of Knowledge, that is, and it introduces as well the role of the students in this narrative fictional scenario. So the students play as the citizens of a prosperous small town called Wisdom Wharf. Wisdom Wharf is ruled by the Wise Council, and through a message from the Wise Council, the students learn that dark forces are menacing Wisdom Wharf, and that it's up to them to protect and to defend their city. And how can they be ready to fight for their city? Weekly at home, they have to complete the missions that the Wise Council assigns to them, and in the following lesson, they have to use their knowledge to complete specific learning activities in class. By doing so, they collect points and they level up, becoming more powerful and so getting ready to face the city's enemy. The Chronicles of Knowledge also provide specific badges designed to reinforce students' motivation and to encourage students to enact positive behavior, and of course also to celebrate students' success during their learning process. In this slide you can see some of them, but there are many others. So once the onboarding phase is concluded, new features are added to the gamified system to foster new learning activities and behaviors. In particular, the main objective of this phase are fostering effective teamwork practices and a general collaborative attitude among all the students, because we don't want to encourage excessive competition, and promoting a good organization of the study workload. In order to reach these objectives, 2 new game elements are added to the gamified system: the guilds or corporations and the first siege. These are the guilds, coherently with the narrative universe of the Chronicles of Knowledge that is based on the themes of the steampunk narrative. There are 4 guilds: the aristocrats, the thieves, the alchemists, and the inventors. Each guild's leader, during one of the synchronous lessons, assign a specific challenge to the students. The challenge is to gamify a different existing mobile application. This is an objective that is, of course, coherent with the general learning objectives of the course. And the students are asked to form small teams and select one of the challenges. By choosing the challenge, they also choose the guild they want to join. From that moment on, the points gained by each student also contribute to defining a guild's leaderboard that you can see on this slide and that is visible on the Moodle platform. To counteract the competitive dynamics related to the guild's leaderboard, the students are also informed that there is a mysterious enemy that is approaching the coast of Wisdom Wharf, menacing to put the town under a siege. So, to protect the city, the guilds will have to work together, to joining their forces and using as their main weapon their knowledge in order to defeat this enemy. Once the first half of the course is completed, the gamification system reaches the mastery phase. And the main objective of this phase is to encouraging individual effort to acquire and share more in-depth knowledge, and promoting a good organization of the students' study workload. And to achieve these goals, there are 2 game elements that are used in this stage of the Chronicles of Knowledge, that are the secondary missions and the first siege. Let's start talking about the first siege battle. The siege battle is organized using a specific web application that, together with my research team, we designed and developed using 3D, using Unity 3D, that is an engine that is often used to develop video games. And during the lesson, the teacher shared the application with all the students throughout desktop sharing function. So the image that you can now see on the slide is what the students can see on their computer. And the teacher has to prepare in advance a certain number of questions. For instance, in this case, there has been prepared 10 easy questions, 20 intermediate questions, and 10 difficult questions. And during the battle, each student can decide the difficult level of the question he has to answer, and the question comes up on the screen, and then the student has 45 seconds to listen to the question and try to answer. If the answer is correct, the enemy loses some of his health points, and this siege has a total duration of 30 minutes top, so if the enemy loses all his health points before the time runs out, he is defeated and the siege is over. After the conclusion of the first siege, the students are granted access to a new section of the Moodle platform where they can find the secondary missions. Secondary missions are optional assignments that students can decide to carry out on their own, and if they do it, they can gain more experience points. And there are different kind of secondary missions. One of them, for instance, is for the students to select one of the topic proposed by the teacher, or propose to the teacher a topic, and then prepare a brief presentation for the class about that topic, so they can be teacher for a brief lesson of 20 minutes. A different kind of secondary mission, for instance, is for the students to prepare a glossary of the key terms of the course. So there are different kind of assignments that the students can decide to carry out. Then, during the last part of the course, Wisdom Wharf faces the threat of a second siege. And this second siege is designed to be more difficult than the first one. For instance, the students have less time to answer to each question, the enemy has higher stamina, and the questions are about the entire program of the course. After the second siege, the final points are assigned, and the guild with the highest score is proclaimed the winner of the entire experience. So let's see what are the students' feedback about the use of this kind of solution. At the end of each iteration of the solution was held an online World Café that is a kind of focus group that is designed to simulate a café consisting of small tables. Each of the tables represents a sub-issue for discussion, and each table includes 4 people top, and the groups rotate every 20 minutes so that the subgroup can participate in each topic. In the case of the Chronicles of Knowledge, the table were focused on teaching method, gamification design and game elements, and student experience. So, as for the teaching method, students generally agreed that Chronicles of Knowledge contributed to foster the level of engagement and to reduce the level of isolation that they sometimes experienced due to the fact that the course was held online instead of in a traditional face-to-face environment. And it also helped them to better organize their workload during the semester. So they feel that they arrived at the end of the semester well prepared and ready to take the exam. They also generally appreciated the game elements included in the solution. In particular, the sieges were really appreciated, and also the guilds and the missions, especially the secondary ones, so the optional assignments. Finally, participants appreciated the balance between collaboration and competition. So also the students that are not very competitive can find a way to enjoy the experience thanks to the guilds aspects. And they also enjoyed the narrative, and they also will have appreciated more complex narrative, maybe a narrative that can be affected by the results in the gamified system. This is a brief description of the team that was involved in the design and the development and then in the testing of the Chronicles of Knowledge. So the solution was created using a co-design approach involving both students and teachers. And there were also very important technical roles involved in the design and in the development of the solution, in particular one artist, one graphic designer, and of course the Unity 3D programmer. So finally, I'd like to share with you what are the most important things that I've learned using this approach. The first one is that it works. It actually succeeds in keeping the students engaged and in fostering good learning behaviors. And so finally, it leads to very good learning results. It is important to take into account that it requires time to design this kind of solution. So if you want to try to adopt this approach, you need to be sure to take enough time to design it properly, taking into account the characteristics of your students and of the subject that you are teaching. And finally, be prepared to be flexible and to modify a little bit things on the go, because each group of students is different. So minor changes, minor adjustments are always needed, even though you planned very well both the flipped classroom aspects and the gamified aspects. So that's it. Thank you very much for your attention, and of course I will be happy to answer to your questions if you have any.
Sure, we have. Oh my God, I want to be your student, because I have now feeling that, you know, the learning with you is more like an adventure than not just learning.
But it's the general idea.
Exactly. And in the same time, I'm asking myself, and also one of our participants, Maria, is asking actually, how many hours do you need to prepare all the materials? I mean, it looks really huge work.
Okay, it is difficult to give you an exact number of hours, because of course you have the learning materials that needs to be prepared, but maybe you already have the materials ready, like in my case, because I taught this course for several years before deciding to adopt this approach. So I didn't start from scratch, and this is helpful. Of course, there is a lot of work involved in the design of the gamification aspects, as I already said. And my suggestion is that you take at least a couple of months before the beginning of the course to plan all the system and to verify that the scoring system is well balanced, and to verify what happens if the students doesn't complete this specific mission, in order to be sure that you are prepared to what can actually happen when the course is rolling.
Yes, yes.
Anyway, I think a couple of months is the very minimum amount of time, and also it's very important the involvement of the collaboration with people that are skilled in the different aspects. So if you are not a game designer, if you are not familiar with gamification, maybe it's a better idea to consult with something that has this expertise and can guide you. Of course, like when you decide to adopt flipped learning, one of the crucial things that you have to do is study before trying to implement it.
And I see that the light in the end of the tunnel is that you never start from scratch, actually. You always use whatever you have and then just transform it, yeah?
Yeah, I think it's also a better idea, because the first iteration of your solution will never be perfect. So it's better to reuse as much of the things that you already have as you can, and see how it goes, and then finalize it in the second iteration, because you can learn from experience things that you didn't anticipate it. So
Then Adriana is also interested in whether there is any portal for flipped classroom or free course, maybe, that you can recommend it.
To learn about, or to use as a tool in the...
I understand the question to learn about flipped classroom methodology.
Yeah, there are a lot of resources that are available online about flipped learning. There is also the Flipped Learning Initiative that provides also courses about this method, and there is the certification course that I enrolled in, that is very good, and provides very comprehensive understanding of how this method works and how to implement it. And it's very useful. I already said it. It's very useful to study before implementing the method, because it can seems easy when you think about it. Okay, you have to give the students something to learn before, and then you make them work in the class time, but it's not so easy when you put it into practice. So there are a lot of things that you need to take into account, and studying a little bit about it can be useful, and also can be useful in suggesting you what kind of tools can be used.
Can you, Giada, maybe give us some links, and then we put it into the chat?
Yeah.
But also, dear participants, I know that also you have different links. So if you have any links or resources on Flipped Classroom, please do put them into the chat so that we can all then learn from it. Yes. So all of you that you have some resources, please do share. Another question, the last one that I would like to ask, is the age of students. When do you think it's the most beneficial? I mean, when to start with Flipped Classroom?
I personally used it mostly with postgraduate students, so they're aged from 22 to 24 25. And I think that is quite good because they're autonomous. They like to be challenged in learning, in engaging with the content before class, and they like to be engaged in practical activities in class because they are already thinking about what they are going to do after the university. But I learned that it can be applied successfully also with students that are much younger, even from a very young age, but I don't have direct experience in this kind of context. So I can highly recommend it with university students, especially postgraduate students.
All right. So thank you very much. We will move on because there is time that we have to keep on. Yes, thank you very much for your presentation and your contribution. And I'm looking forward for all the further contributions from your side. Okay, so next we move to Rob. Hi, Rob. Rob has another presentation. He is from, as you heard before, from IVOC in Belgium. That is actually a consortium or fund of different social partners that are together on textile industry, and you provide trainings for employees. And of course, you also use flipped classroom methodology. So yeah, please do share your experience and your knowledge with us.
I will first try to share. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, we see the presentation. Just go into the presentation mode so that we will see, because now we see all the slides, but probably it's better to see only one slide.
Okay.
And so the presentation is entitled Teachers Teach Teachers.
Indeed.
Indeed. And okay, and Michaela is telling us that she is using flipped classroom with 7 years old. Yeah, so there are different age spans that you can use it, but you of course adapt it. All right, and thank you Zaira and Alina who are sharing in the comments all the different resources. Also Alma, thank you very much. All right, so Rob, okay, the presentation now is not available anymore. Can you share once again?
Yeah, I'll try. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, then let's get started. So, as Blanca said, indeed, IVOC is a training institute for employees in clothing industry, but we do have a good cooperation with fashion schools in Belgium. So the experience that we had in this flipped classroom approaches is with teachers. Now, if we talk about fashion education, we are talking about really technical matters. It all has to do with the assembly of a garment. You need specialized machines to do that. You need to cut fabrics. You need sewing machines to put it all together. And this is something that you cannot do without instructions. right? So in clothing industry, we have, like in all other industries, we have our own conventions. We have our own symbols, our own standards. You understand? I will show you an example of such a instructions. You don't have to understand what it is about, but I hope you recognize that this is about a garment. It's not so easy to understand if you're not familiar with symbols and with other elements on this graph. But this is what students have to learn in fashion schools, all right? This is what our project was about, because back in 2007, so that's a while ago, we did a little survey. We investigated how teachers from fashion schools convey this kind of knowledge to their students. What kind of didactic materials do they use? And of course, main question is what they do in schools, is this compliant with the industry? All right. And so what we found is really a multitude of didactic materials, and some were professional, but some others were more fancy and not compliant with the industry. So we had to do something about that. Now, for us, the easiest way to solve this problem was to train them. We could have someone from the industry explaining how to make instruction cards to the teachers. You could hire someone for a few days, and then we would solve the problem. But we had two doubts. First, IVOC, my organization, is not in a position to make this kind of training compulsory. So we might just not reach those that we want to reach. And then there's a second problem. How can we be sure that teachers from fashion schools will really adopt the industry standards? Because it's not so easy. It's complicated, and you need special software to make this kind of instruction cards. So it was not a problem. So we had to find another way to solve this problem. What we did is we put some teachers around the table, and we tried to find a solution together with them. And that's where the idea grew, to solve the problem themselves. So all teachers were ready to share their experience, their knowledge on instruction cards, to correct what was wrong, and to construct new instruction boards, and to put them together in a central database. So these teachers started to learn from each other and to teach their colleagues. See? Now our position was some kind of coordinator. What we did is, of course, we organized the project, we organized the workshops, we invited the teachers, we centralized the work that they did. We have put it online. We did some quality checks, and in some cases, when there was some doubt about which option to choose, that was our duty then to decide, like a referee on a football stadium. So that's what we did. Now, what did we learn from this experience? Because what we saw is that the instruction cards that are used now in the industry and in schools really had a quality boost in this project. What did we learn? I would like to highlight 4 learning points. First, this may be the most important. All instruction cards that were developed in the project were used. So we had this project was 100% effective. There was nothing that was not used. Of course, we have some modalities, as you can see on this graph, but all materials were used. I don't think this is the case with traditional training.
Rob, just a second, but we still see the first slide.
Oh, I'm doing wrong.
Yes, now, okay, thanks. It's okay now.
It's okay now? Okay, can I continue?
Yes.
So what you see is the graph which illustrates the effectiveness of what we were doing. And there you can see that whatever we developed in this project was used in the classroom. in the classes of the teachers that were involved in the project. Another point, and maybe that's a slow point, some teachers found that the process was a little bit slow. I hope you can see the next slide now, Bianca.
Yes, we see it. We see it.
So there you see, this was a remark from several teachers that we involved in the project. Indeed, it takes some time to achieve results and to have quality in the results. You need someone needs to propose, then some colleagues need to check it. You could see it as a peer review. We have to do some final checks and then release the instruction card. So that takes some time. Yeah, maybe that's a weak point. It's not a feature of flipped classroom, but in our experiences, we had some remarks on the speed of the process. Next point is again, I think, a very positive finding. As I explained, the teacher achieved results. So they had useful material developed in this project. And what we saw is each year, new teachers signing up for the project, of course, to benefit from the results. In the 13 years that we have this project running, we involved 207 teachers in the project actively developing instruction cards. So the adoption of this new methodology and of the new materials is as good as 100% in fashion education, at least in the Flemish part of Belgium. And then to close, and maybe this is a little bit double, but of course you understand that the teachers had to work in teams. Now, for some of the teachers, this is really enriching. They like it. They were fond of this way of working, but not all of them. We found that some teachers had difficulties with working on a proposal that another teacher proposed, you see? So this is something that we have to deal with. And as I see it, a bad team worker doesn't make you a bad teacher. So you have to find solutions for this. And for me, this ambiguity that we see is essential to the role that we play as a coordinator in the project. The way I see it is that flipped classroom is all about empowering people, empowering your trainee. They will gain autonomy, they will gain authority, and they will use this authority because they take control of their own skills enhancement. Maybe in classical training, this is not something you really have to worry about, but when you want to make flipped classroom a success, this is the real challenge. So good luck and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. It's really nice to see. Rob, I would only like to ask you whether you can show us the third slide again.
Slide?
The third slide, yes, because that was, the time when we only saw the first one, but I think it would be interesting to see those cards.
Okay, you should be able to see the cards now.
Mm-hmm. Just a second. No.
No.
No screen sharing here.
I'm doing something wrong. Can you see now?
Yes, just a second. Yes. Aha. Okay, those are the instruction cards. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
I'm sorry you missed this slide, but this is what it was about. This is what the teachers are developing themselves in groups. This is what they were teaching each other about. Yeah.
It's a wonderful example of teachers teamwork together, because sometimes I have a feeling, of living in one individual garden, always searching for resources. And I know it's challenging for teachers because you propose that it was hard sometimes that one teacher would accept something that another teacher proposed. But I think we have to learn this. Actually, it's a skill, and it's a good project, a good initiative that you have there, really. I don't see any questions though here, but I see a lot of comments, like very inspiring, like this one is saying, Maria is telling, thank you, and excellent session. Ara is telling us, so thank you very much, guys. So we will move to another one. So I will welcome Alina.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
So yes, our next presentation is then on her Edpuzzle. Maybe also a lot of teachers know this application, and Alina will go into details and briefly introduce this tool that can be used also in flipped classroom methodology.
Okay, I chose to show you a demonstration of using Edpuzzle. So I will be brief and show you the main aspects. And if someone have questions, we can solve these later. Okay. So Edpuzzle is one good solution for. Just a second to share the screen. Okay. So it's okay. Is it okay? Can you see Edpuzzle.com?
Yes. Yes, we see it. Yeah, the whole window we see.
Okay. So Edpuzzle is a web-based solution for realizing one of the solutions for realizing flipped classroom in your class, which is easy to use and also is it's very funny and is very joyful, because you can take it as a game or as a joke or something that the students will like. So Edpuzzle can be accessed at edpuzzle.com, and you can log in either as a teacher or either as a student with an email, just an email, whatever, with a special Edpuzzle account created on Edpuzzle, or with your Google account, which I will choose for this example. So I will choose one of my Google accounts for getting in. So this is our playground, and this is where our adventure will start. What is it about? Edpuzzle is about editing videos and using videos for making learning more enjoyable and more attractive, and in the same time for reaching our objectives that we are focusing in a lesson in a funny way from students. So basically it is about videos. You can use a video from your own device with an upload a video link from here. You can use already prepared videos by other teachers, as you see, or other people who have used Edpuzzle and created some questions or some interfering in it, or you can create your own lesson from these huge libraries. So this is one of best thing about Edpuzzle, that it is connected to huge amount of videos, of good quality videos, educational videos like YouTube Educational, Khan Academy, National Geographic, and so on. I could say here something about Khan Academy because some of our participants asked about. Salman Khan is one of the pioneers of the method of flipped classroom method, and he started with little videos that he recorded for his niece in order to make the learning more attractive. And now he run this huge Khan Academy, which has a lot of resources for teaching, especially in mathematics, but not only. So Edpuzzle is connected directly to these channels, popular educational channels. I will choose for today National Geographic, which is very well known for its quality, good quality videos. And I will propose for today learning about painting eggs in Romania, because now we are preparing for Easter, and I intend to learn my students about traditions in painting eggs in Romania. So I chose this good quality video about painting eggs as a tradition in Ciocanești village, which is a UNESCO heritage village in Romania. And I want to, so I set my objectives of teaching students about traditions, Easter traditions. And now we have this video on our board. We have this menu on the right side at our disposal. We can just assign the video the way it is to the students, or we can edit it. I will edit it first. So if I choose to edit the video, I have several tools for doing this. I can cut it. So if I think it's too long, I can make it shorter. I can make a voiceover, so I can record my voice over the video if it fits, because sometimes it doesn't, but if it fits, I can do that. Or I can add questions. What does it mean to add questions? And this is where I think we really have flipped classroom. So my videos reach the students, and they receive it, and they will watch it. But I won't let them to just watch it. I will intervene and see what they watch, and emphasize some good aspects that I think they should know about it. Something like that. So what can we insert here? We can insert a multiple choice questions. Example, if something here I consider that the students will should stop and answer one important questions, I can intervene with here. For example, what is the name? What is the name of the village? Okay, and I can have like Ciocanești is the correct answer, but I will also put some other names, like for example Craiova, and I can have another choice, like for example Romania. And if I think it is enough, I will just save it and go on and continue. If I consider, for example, here somewhere I should note something, I should emphasize something for my students, I could put a note like, this is a very old tradition. Okay. And I will go on, like just save and go on. You can see Edpuzzle put these marks where I do have, because I can move the marks if it doesn't fit with the time of the video. Okay, so if I go further, okay, maybe here I would like to enter an open-ended questions, like how old is this Easter tradition? Okay, so now I have I have used all kinds of questions that I have, but it's not compulsory, of course. Now I will just have save, and then let's say this is all for editing. Of course, you may have how many questions you want, and then you will just press finish. When you consider you have finished your lesson with your magic touch, then you can assign the video to your students. The nice issue about Edpuzzle is that you can have your own class in Edpuzzle created especially for Edpuzzle. From this button, add new class, you can have a new class in Edpuzzle, or you can connect to Google Classroom. So you can insert your Google Classroom already created in this Edpuzzle, and you don't have to create any classroom at all. For this demonstration, I created one class, so I will assign this to our 12th Pan-European Conference on Digital Education. Okay, and I will just press assign. Before this, I can put a due date if I think it's okay, it's suitable for my video. So, for example, 1st of March will be the due date. Okay, maybe an hour, but if it's okay, we can leave it this way. So 1st of March will be the due date. Prevent skipping will not allow students to fast forward the video. So the students will have to watch the video phase by phase, so second by second. And turn on CC. This is for captioning. Okay, so I will just press assign, and now the video will go to my students. I have one student here in my class already joined. This student has to, I hope he, okay, let's see if she, okay, she received the task. She will start watching the task, and during this, the teacher is able to see the progress of the student. So if the students start asking the questions, everything, then the teacher will see the progress in here in the timeline. Okay, at the end you can have grades for the open-ended questions. You will grade them, you will evaluate it, and you can share this assignment by copy the link, and also you can have a class, because here in my classes you have all your classes. For example, these two are from Google Classroom, and this is my class for today. At class members, you can invite more students by sending them the class code, or by sending them the link of the class. Okay, so this is mainly about Edpuzzle. It's very loved by students, and you can have it. You can have it whenever you consider to use it, because you can use either your own videos or good educational videos that you have in different libraries. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Is a class code? Yes, I can put here. Maybe if you want, I can share the class code and the link. Okay, so copy the link.
So, yeah, that was actually one of the questions in the chat. So yes, okay, so we will put it there.
I will put it here, the link directly, and the last characters of the link represent the code of the class. So FAPIPAS is the link for the class. It's really great because it's videos, it's good libraries here. So if you want to join the class, you are free to join it. You will become a member of my class. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. I see you have the whole team there because many of the participants are greeting you also in Romanian. Okay, so congratulations.
Hello. Bună ziua, mulțumim pentru participare.
Okay, so I will say mulțumesc. Mulțumesc, and yes, thank you very much. Brilliant, thank you. All right, so I'm seeing whether we have questions. I think, yes, you already gave an answer about the class code, so thank you very much.
But we can do more if needed. I can check my. Oh, so we already have a lot of students here.
Of course.
Okay. So
those are our participants. Yes, they are active immediately.
Yes, so you can see are very lazy. Sorry. Okay. So
okay, so in the
okay.
Yes, we see it here.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, so thank you very much once again. I will move on because of the time. So I will move to Simona. Just hello. Once again, Simona. She will present another tool, Screencast-O-Matic. And yeah, in the meanwhile, I will just tell you once again to participate also in the Mentimeter, in which we collect different thoughts and ideas and experiences with flipped classroom. So you can see the code is like 3392369, and we will put the report on the Facebook group Pan-European Conference on Digital Teaching. As well, you can find there all the presentations from today's conference. So you find there all the materials available. All right, so Simona, the stage is yours now.
Okay, thank you. Hello again, everybody. I try to be short because the time is running fast. So I will present you today another video tool, Screencast-O-Matic. We know that students in the last years are very interested, especially in watching videos than reading. So we can adapt their interest and make our lessons more interesting and maybe more effective. So I start presenting this application, screen recorder and video editor, Screencast-O-Matic.com. So this is the first page. We can sign up, then log in, record for free. Before making this, I want to show you some things you can do, and you can find them here. So I want to present you these things again. Okay, what we can do with this tool? We can make flipped or blended learning, making videos, creating tutorials, and why would we do this? Because we have to save time and to share some things with students before or after the class, so we can use our time together with them for other explanations or other things. We can ask students to make videos like this. We can make some assignments, projects. They can make projects together. and a lot of things. So if you read here, you have all the information. Also, you can find here a lot of things about this product. What can you do with this? We have also tutorials and support for making these videos. I will sign in quickly. Okay. Then we see what I have here, what videos I have made already. I use this tool for sharing my students some experiments. I told you I am physics teacher, and we cannot anymore because of the COVID, and we can make experiments in our lab, a physics lab. So we have a lot of resources with physics simulations, and these are only for trying. I didn't make that. If you want to record something, we press here launch recorder. When you start using this platform, I think they will ask you to download the recorder. This will be on your computer. Okay, it will appear in a second, and we can start recording. This is a record I made before. Delete. I don't know why it's showing here. I want another record. Okay, we can choose if we want to present only the screen or webcam. We will appear there and explain, or both of them. Okay, we choose both of them, and we can start recording pressing this. We choose what to record. We choose our screen that we record. So I have here a simulation of physics experiments. I want to show students how to understand a physics experiment, because if I send them only to watch this, maybe they will not understand. So I speak, I present this simulation, and I speak in the same time explaining them what I have to do. So I tell them, open PET Colorado, inspect until it's okay, and then choose a balloon, come with it and make friction with this sweater. Then we'll see the electric charges appearing. Put it near the wall, and we will see the balloon will stay near the wall, and so on. When I finish explaining, I stop this video. Okay, I stop the video. I forgot to press record. I stop it. It's done. And I have more options to save it. I save it on my Screencast-O-Matic videos. It's saved. Okay. I go back. And find it in my videos. Then it's here. I want to name it. I will edit it. I put the name electric charges. Okay. I save it. I have it here. If I want, I make folders. If I have more interest, as you see, I have here physics, geography, painting eggs like Alina. And then I can send this video also in Google Classroom or other educational platforms that we have. We have here, I can share it in Google Classroom, in Teams. I press Google Classroom. It's better if you make your account with the institutional account, not your personal. So you will have the link to your classes. I choose a class and I send the video physics. I choose if it is an assignment, a question, a material. Then I go to post it to my class. Electricity. And I post it on a classroom, so they will see what I have done there. This tool I also use for professional development when I want to share something with my colleagues in school. After we started the online learning in March, a year ago, and I want to present them about the tools I know. Yes, I make this kind of videos and I share to my colleagues to try to make it work, this online education. So if you go through this platform, you see a lot of things. You can read, watch webinars, and see what is there in this platform. I hope I was clear. Sorry for my English. In the past, when we participated in Erasmus courses, in Erasmus projects, where I was a lot, my English was better. But now, from some times, I didn't use it. It's hard. It's a little hard to find the words. But I hope you understood me.
Don't worry, for the majority of us, English is not our first language. So I think we are really...
It's easier to write than to speak for me.
Yeah. I know. It's for all of us. And we are actually curious about the topic and we don't mind the language and we understood everything. And the application looks really handy. Thank you for it. And yes, nice. I think that now we also feel much more positive about flipped classroom because with every presentation we get more puzzle into our brains and we get more confidence that we can actually use it in our teaching, actually more than maybe we use it now. Okay, so, and the next presentation is, we made in the meantime a little bit change in the schedule. So I will give my word now to Ivana.
During
Ivana. Welcome. Ivana will present us also another interesting, how can I call it, like initiative. It's Migration Socratic seminar. Yes, so we are looking forward. Please, you can share the screen and yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Blanca. I hope you can see the screen.
Yes.
In the meantime, okay. So in my brief presentation, I'm going to show you something really practical. When I do webinars and teacher trainings, I like to share something from my classroom that teachers can, go tomorrow to their classrooms and try to implement it there. So I hope this will be useful to you. I will briefly explain this method, Socratic seminar, because it's really useful for flipped classroom, and then I will show you how it looked like in my classroom on the topic of migration. It can be done on any topic in any subject. I'm an English teacher, but you can use it for any subject and at any level. You just have to adapt it. So what is it basically? You can see here one photo from my classroom. It is a form of a student-led discussion. So you give materials to students to study them before, and then later when they come to school, they discuss these materials using open-ended questions. It is based on Socrates' teaching that we all gain knowledge the best way through asking smart questions. So flipped classroom pedagogy requires us to prepare effective tasks and effective questions so we could promote active learning, and this method is extremely efficient for flipped classroom and to satisfy this need. It allows better use of class time. It helps your students engage with knowledge. It helps them collaborate. They learn how to provide evidence for their perspective, how to listen to others, how to communicate with others, how to critically evaluate information, and using this method, they dig deeper into the topic that you are dealing with. There are a few, here you can see a few steps how to organize a Socratic seminar. You have to first carefully choose the materials that your students will study. It can be texts, it can be videos, infographics. You have to prepare your students carefully and give them enough time to study these materials at home. You have to explain the roles, which roles will they have in the classroom, and your own role. And in the end, you have to do the assessment, because it's extremely important in this method. So for this migration Socratic seminar, we had, as I told you, I'm an English teacher, and we dealt with the topic of migration. I prepared a video for them using the tool Doodly. So I created an animated video about migration. I shared the text with them from the Europeana page from an exhibition, People on the Move. And I also shared some infographics with them on the topic of refugees and migrants. I put all these materials into an interactive worksheet using the tool Wiser. I'm sure you have heard of it. It's a very nice tool. So I put all the materials there and all the activities that students had to focus on. So they had to use this worksheet and the materials I prepared for them. They had to study them and prepare questions for the discussion that will take place at school. One of the disadvantages of this method is it can happen that students don't prepare. So you should talk to them, seriously. So it didn't happen to me so far, but it could happen. So they should, if they don't prepare, it could be a flop. Okay. So I'm not going to show you the videos that I prepared, but this is how it looks like. You as a teacher, you are a facilitator, and you have to prepare the classroom. So I will explain it on the example of 18 students. If you have 18 students, this will be a discussion in 3 rounds, and you have 6 students in the inner circle, and each of them has 2 observers behind them. So one of the observers is for like 21st century skills. He observes how the student communicates with others, how he initiates the discussion, how he listens to other students and reacts to the discussion. The other one observes the content. If the student refers to the materials that they had to study at home, how he uses English, does he speak fluently or not? So one of them is content observer and the other one is 21st century observer. And the discussion starts. You can decide how long it lasts. In my classroom, it's usually 10 minutes per round. And when one round finishes, students who are in this inner circle, they turn to their wingman, so to say, and they discuss, they use these questions and arguments during the discussion, and they turn to their wingmen. And so these wingmen, these observers, tell them what they did well, what they didn't do well. So they do a kind of a peer assessment. And then they change the roles. The roles rotate. One of the observers gets into the inner circle, and the one who was inside goes out. And then you do it like in 3 rounds. This way, you get the whole class speaking in the span of 45 minutes. So for me, as an English teacher, this is extremely important. So this method enables you to get the students, the whole class speaking, and your students in this way develop their reading skills, their speaking skills, their listening skills. So it is a really useful method. After they do this peer assessment, they also do self-assessment. They have to say after the seminar finishes one thing they did well, one thing that they should improve, and how they would grade themselves. And in the end, when the whole thing is over, we also do a whole class reflection. What they liked about the seminar, if they didn't like something, what were the most interesting ideas and arguments expressed, and they also suggest some other topics for Socratic seminar. As I told you, it can be applied in any subject, with any topic. For example, last week we had the topic environment, and we prepared a Socratic seminar on sustainable tourism. So it is my recommendation is to really try this method out, because it's like a sample, for a flipped classroom. And I really like it. And students always like these seminars. They don't even notice that the bell rang, and they are very proud of themselves, because in this way you get them talking about serious topics. And they are very proud of themselves. When I did it for the first time, my students told me, teacher, we talked like grown-ups, and it's really like that. They talk about difficult topic in English. So this is my recommendation, not only for the English teachers, but also teachers of other subjects. You can download the material later when you get the presentation, but if you have any questions, you can also ask them through the email. So thank you. And if you have any questions now, you are free to ask.
Thank you very much. It's a great presentation. There are lots of comments. One is saying that she wants to be your jock, like student in Croatia. So yes, really how-to presentation. So I think it's really useful that all the participants can actually do this tomorrow. Yeah. Thank you. And now we have the last but not least presentation. We move to Portugal. So welcome, João. He is also a trainer from Modatex. Yes. And he will present us the topic on project-oriented training. Looking forward.
Yes. Thank you, Blanca. Hi, everyone. If you didn't come earlier to in the beginning, if you haven't been here in the beginning, my name is João. I work in Modatex, and I know we are past our end time, so I will start my presentation right now, and it will be, I think, very fast. Okay. And I think this presentation is a great segue from Ivana presentation, because she mentioned something that I think is very relevant for us trainers, teachers, and even students. We have to know how to make how to articulate the right question, or to think really carefully how we make questions to our students. For example, this is a very simple question, and if you ask most of our students, if they are in the early stages of their life, the math, they know how to answer this question. If you ask them to find this result, 6 + 2 = 8. But do we really want to have an answer to a question, or do we want to start a conversation? I teach and I am an instructor almost for almost I've been for almost, I think, 8-9 years, and I usually work with adults, or 18 plus young adults. And what I found is that when we ask a question that is too closed and not open enough, people tend to think that we already have an expectation of them. We already know what we want from them. And they think they are, well, they're learning, but they are only checking boxes. So when I ask the question, find the result, if I change the article, for example, of a definite article for an indefinite article, maybe I can find another answer. Because now what I want to see is something more than just an answer. The answer. I want to see an answer to this problem, and I can find different results, because, as I mentioned before in the beginning, before this presentation, I work in Modatex, and we focus on the textile industry, and I'm mostly an instructor in fashion design, and creativity is very important. And I think creativity is the key for changing, involving, and thinking and having a new perspective about life. So when we have a question that allows you to think outside the box, or to find and to know that there's not only one answer to that question, it can make you think outside the box. Of course, if a student shows you the answer as we traditionally know the answer to this question, that's also correct. But if we teach them how to flip the question, maybe we see more than the traditional, and maybe we can evolve to another form of knowledge, of knowing things in a different perspective. Like we are talking in this conversation for the last hour about a flip classroom, a flip learning experience. And maybe if you only flip this formula, we can find the infinite, and we can find ways of interpret the world that can bring more knowledge to our students. What is important is to then talk with them and to discuss these problems and be able to really interact with them. For example, I'll have this. I made this example to where I could do this, make this question and ask this question to a student. Make a T-shirt knowing that 6 + 2 = infinity, and this is a starting point to almost like it's a non-question. It's a challenge, and people like to be challenged. then what they could do is to interpret the question, really think about the process of making a t-shirt. What is to make a t-shirt? What is a t-shirt? Or is there more than a type of t-shirt? And even define the question, because knowing that 6 + 2 = infinity goes against the things that we learn, goes against the norm. And that is what we want our students to think. We want them to think outside what they already know. We want them to learn something new, to change, to really look into the world, to know the things that are established and know the things that are outside those limits. So what they could do, and what the teacher will do in this process, is to make them really assume a position of an explorer, a researcher. We give them a challenge, and then they will have to really find a way to solve this problem. So the teacher could and should give them resources to search the topics that may help them develop this problem. But they also could talk to their parents, their family. Here in the textile industry, we have a long history in Portugal, so we have some of our grandmothers, our fathers worked in the industry. They were seamstress. They know these things. We have friends. We also have, like I said, the material that is prepared by the teacher. But they are the ones who try to find them. We don't, and maybe in this process, even the teacher will learn a different perspective that can be transported to another student, and it's a more interactive way of not only thinking about a problem, but to solve a problem. And I prepared this last slide. It's the process where the teacher, instructor, or tutor gives a task. Then the students explore, make questions, find answers. Then the teachers question those answers, try to really learn what they about the students' answers, where they found those answers, what they mean about the question asked by the teacher. Then the students make questions together with the teachers, make questions, find answers, and frame them in a context. And then the students deliver a project, and not an answer only. So what we want from them is not just the result, it's the process, it's the learning experience. And that's what they take on their life, not only an answer, but a project, a process that they engraved in themselves. And I think I was fast, and I think that's done.
Thank you, João. What can I say? It's actually a great conclusion of the conference. So I think that maybe it was not a coincidence that we changed a little bit this plan, because you made us think about, that actually there are the 21st century skills that are really important in teaching today, that we cannot actually demand from our students just to repeat the data, to memorize the data, but we actually have to taught them how to think. Yes, so that the thinking skills, creativity thinking, critical thinking, all this is actually in the very heart of teaching.
Yes, what they can bring to the table, because that's what's because we are one, but they are they can bring something new every time to us, and we then can share this information with everyone, because without this we also become very well, we don't evolve as well. So we need them as much as they need us. So it's
exactly, it's really wonderful. So thank you. And that is almost all. Monica, please do tell us about Mentimeter and about the Padlet, because that is also a part of the conference, even though you don't see it on the screen all the time. Okay, Monica. And we need your microphone.
Okay, now it works, right?
Yes. And the dear participants, all the slides are already in the Facebook group, Pan-European Conference on Digital Education, so you can download them from there. Yeah?
Yeah, so regarding the Padlet, we have received more than 30 presentations on flipped classroom with lots of useful materials. If you scroll here and you go down, you will see many examples with very useful. Some of them are templates, some of them are just suggestions, some of them are the tools you can use for the flipped classroom. So it's also very beneficial for you. And on the Mentimeter activity, we have received even more answers from participants. So thank you very much for this. All materials will be available on Facebook group, which is already in the chat. Erasmus Plus, Pan-European Conference on Digital Education, and that's shortly it.
That's shortly it. Yes, it is. And the recording stays on the Facebook and on YouTube, so you can watch it later, of course. Also, the chat will be available because there are a lot of different links, so you can also go there. The Mentimeter report and flipped classroom Padlet presentations will also be available on the Facebook group. So I believe this was one of the most richest conferences on, so much information, so much learning, and I'm really happy. The next conference is on 25 March. And you can apply it on the webpage erasmuspluscourses.com. As usual. We don't have any main topic as we had like now, but please do, all the participants, please apply not only as listeners, but also as presenters. You see that all of them survive the presentation. So I'm sure you all have something to say. So please apply also as presenters, not as listeners, and share your practice on digital education with us. We will choose again 5 or 6 of them and have a conference on 25th March. Monica, do you have any thoughts, any greetings for the end?
I would just like to say thank you to everyone, because the participations of participants was amazing today. I was really happy with it when I was following through all of your chats and comments, and I'm really happy to be a part of this.
Thank you very much, and see you in March.
Bye-bye.